Good morning from sacred space at Titania's realm. It's 11:06 a.m. on the 8th of April 2025. I think today is Tuesday. Let me just check. Tuesday. Yay. Gee, time's flying really quickly. It's quite astonishing. I can almost barely catch my breath, I mean. Quite astonishing. So yes, I've booked to go to the dentist tomorrow, which I'm very much dreading because 3 teeth will have to be pulled and I'm going to look like a Bugs Bunny rabbit with all the missing teeth. And it's beyond awful, but that's what happens when your health deteriorates and you can't afford proper private dentistry. It's just a fucking nightmare. I've been battling with my teeth since I was a very young girl. This tooth died when I was only 13, so it's another trauma for me actually, trying to hold on to my choppers, and should not have left these ones this long. It's actually been potentially life-threatening for me, but I'm okay. I'll get them out and I'll carry on, get on with the rest of my life. So the timeline that I'm on now, after the recent events of recent months, have shown me that I can't be a member of, like I used to joke about, Groucho Marx. Can't belong to any club that will have me as a member. I literally, I realised it this morning, can't belong to any group of people, organisation, clubs, venues, scenes, religious organisations, even had my foray into ecstatic dance, or a very alarming article this morning about all the rapes and such. I won't edit out that word. It's a real word. It's perfect English, and I will not minimise that word. But all the rapes and sexual assaults that happen at ecstatic dance and new age type venues that are meant to be healing modalities and safe containers for vulnerable people. Also, that's been subverted. And this article is based on predators that are in the ecstatic dance scene in Hawaii, actually, which is astonishing, but also other parts of America. And I had to walk away from that dance space here, not because I was raped or sexual assaulted, but there was just, again, othering, and the male that was in charge of that was just so rude and also sadistic and snide and just condescending and awful to me that I wasn't safe in that space either. So it brought back those memories of that emotional systemic abuse. So just flashing back to that, oh fuck it, I'm glad that I saw that article actually, because it's a poignant reminder of why I need to walk away from everything. I'm not safe in ordinary society anyway, post-COVID epoch, because of my status and my fierce fight and determination against that and to survive it. And I'm having to live through the equivalent really of a nuclear fallout. It's kind of metaphorically that equivalent, watching people turn and be altered and not be the people I thought they were, and the heartache that goes with that. And I was never safe in any of the, any institution. I wasn't safe in schools growing up. I wasn't safe in my own home. I wasn't safe in workplaces. I wasn't safe in my university. In fact, got driven out of that after only a year and a half into trying to get a BA degree. Got literally driven, harassed out of university, Victoria University of Wellington. Can we say cunts? Honestly, it's endless. I do the chronological order and go through everything, it's amazing that I actually have survived. It blows my own mind. You know, the recent ugliness at the Koala Tavern that I was so excited and happy about, that would be another venue to go to and a place where I might be safe and be included. Nope, unpleasantness there. So, and it's not even like just one individual's doing it. It's groupthink, it's global, it's fucking everywhere. As I said yesterday, it's not survivable, but I will have to find a way to survive it. And I don't know where I can go or where I can find other people like me who held their line and, you know, apart from probably having caught COVID like I did, are still relatively pristine of the bioengineered injectables. I don't know where maybe I have to advertise in the newspaper and try and find others like me that were courageous and also a little bit fortunate that we were able to keep everything pristine because we didn't have businesses or jobs or livelihoods. So again, that's a scary thought, because it all will be people like me who were unemployed and or homeless, had nothing to lose, so we're able to ride through that storm unscathed. So it's a subculture within a subculture within a subculture, as I said yesterday, finding those 5% of people that stood their ground and aren't too broken and damaged by all the cumulative complex traumas on top of already our own native traumas. Like, I can actually almost not breathe. That's how terrifying it is, that I've realised this in recent months, that I literally can't coexist in your world out there, mainstream, normie world. The other day, walking around the supermarket, having everyone give me these death mask type looks. I wasn't wearing inappropriate clothing. I was not doing anything inappropriate. I was just present. Very chilling. More and more and more, I said it from the beginning and people thought I was nuts, but more and more it feels like a kind of alien invasion, like just body snatchers. The lights are on, they're functioning, they're going about, but soul's not there anymore. I'm not going to look away in denial. I'm going to look right at you, YouTube world. Soul loss is more and more apparent each day, and I can't do anything about it. There's absolutely nothing I can do. I tried, I spoke out against it at the very beginning, but was shadow banned and blocked and slandered and vilified and deemed crazy, and crazy as crazy does. I was right all along, and now we have the fallout. So the timeline now is moving forward. How I'm going to have to continue to survive is have to stay on my own in my little house until such time as I die, which hopefully won't be in the too far distant future. Maybe have, who knows, 10 or 20 years. That's a long time to continue to struggle alone when you're elderly and isolated and marginalised. I don't think I will be able to survive that long. But then, you know, remember, and I may have mentioned it in other videos over the years, my very stoic, very very kind of ascetic, elderly Scottish neighbour. When I was a child, she hated me because she hated children. She would have been in her 80s, or late 70s, or early 80s. She lived alone in her 80s in her little cottage beside my parents and my home, and across the road from the sea with the bitter cold southerlies coming up from Antarctica. She lived a very Spartan existence, didn't have very much, cold concrete floors. I don't know how she survived, that old lady. But she was strong. She had the Scottish Viking ancestry and that strength in her. So I remember being fascinated with her as a child, and even I wondered why sometimes. And now I kind of realised she was a role model for my future, for my life as an older woman, having to be very, very powerful and strong and exist in this world alone. And in those days, when she was all alone, it was the early 1970s. Would have been about 5 when I started flax jumping and appearing at the bottom of her garden like a little fairy. So it would have been 1970. She should not have been left on her own in those days. They weren't prosperous times, but there was no global contamination happening, that's for sure. But anyway, it is what it is. She managed on her own, and I can too. I've been alone for 30 years, so what's another 30 more, eh? So, anyway, my darlings, let us continue with reading Enigma of the Empty Lighthouse. Historians have described it. I'm just trying to figure out, because it's a friend of mine I spoke to yesterday. I'm just trying to figure out. I think she's worrying about me and checking on me, actually. We had a good chat yesterday. I think she's just looking on my Instagram to make sure that I'm okay. Which I am okay. I am okay. Feeling I've had to take 2 Valiums, one yesterday and one today, which I'm not okay about, because, the way I've been triggered and poked and pushed and tormented lately, it's just beyond fucking evil. But anyway, this too is temporary. Once I get the teeth done, hopefully my nervous system will settle down again and I can get off the Valium, because I don't want to exist on diazepam. Ever. I didn't like it when I used to have to take it, many years ago when I was on psych meds, and I don't want to get put on that treadmill ever again, but just at the moment, just till things settle and I get past this emotional firestorm of treachery and sadism and betrayal and cruelty and abandonment and perverted, sick little schoolboy games. Once I get through that, I'll be fine. Anyway, Enigma of the Empty Lighthouse. Historians have described it as the profoundest unsolved puzzle in British history. On the morning of 26th of December 1900, a supply ship, Hesperus, visited Scotland's brooding Eilean Moor, Isle of the Dead, to check on the welfare of the 3 lighthouse keepers. I Yes, I think I've heard that story before. Inexplicably, the 150,000 candle power light had not shone for 11 nights, and the crewmen sent ashore were fearful of what they might find. Their concerns were well founded. When they shouted, they were answered only by echoes. The high stone tower lay deserted. A search revealed that the keepers had vanished without trace and seemingly without cause. Behind them, they had left neatly folded clothes, a stopped clock, and a slate bearing the chalked words, "God is over all." I wonder what they meant by that. God is over all. Meaning probably God's watching over everyone, which if God does that kind of thing, then he probably is. See no reason why not. Anyway, I mustn't lose my faith in the Holy One, even though I'm not really a practicing Jew anymore, and I honour all the gods. I'm more of a universalist and a shaman. I can't quite divorce myself from that energy. It's complicated, people of Earth. Even though that energy consistently has allowed me to be emotionally tormented and tortured and slandered and vilified and raped and back in the day and molested as a child constantly, harassed as a child constantly, bullied and vilified and othered, and that carried through right up until current time, hasn't really stopped. I mean, not the raping anymore, but that recent sexual assault from a female really, really blew my mind. My initial shock was just to think it was hilarious, but it's not funny. It wasn't funny what she did. She turned randomly. We've been talking for 40 minutes about the music scene, and even mentioned that she was married and her husband's in a wheelchair. She just switched and fickle finger faded me. Anyway, I'm not going on about that because I'm still distressed about it, because I'm over it actually, but I'm just another example of someone who's brain damaged. A straight woman attacking another straight woman so quickly and so suddenly that I couldn't even protect myself. You know, it was odd. But now, yesterday, as I said in my video, as part of the big picture, I think it was a setup. Because who behaves like that? No one. No one. No normal person behaves like that. With some kind of evil, perverted setup. Anyway. Life goes on, people of Earth. This is why I have to stay home from now on, just stay in my own little world and live my best life. And I'm sad about it because it's only natural as a human being, because we're herd animals. We really are. Apex predators, but herd animals. We like to flock together and have connections and have camaraderie and have friendships and love partnerships and, you know, community. Well, I'm denied that by some malfeasant viciousness and othering. Anyway, where were we? Does God watch over us? What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us? Well, anyway. It's an interesting thing my friend looked at, that photo about my friend, that young girl I danced with just after my suicide attempt. She was a little angel, that girl. We gave so much energy and strength to each other. She didn't know. I didn't mention to her that I had recently attempted suicide, because it's not fucking, it wasn't an attention-seeking borderline thing. It was a defiant act of rebellion, wanting out of the hell that I'd gone through that year, all year long. And 10 years later, exactly 10 years later, same shit, different day. But I won't be suiciding people there, because there's no point, since the gods keep vomiting me back to earth. And no one, I won't be empowering my enemies to gift you my life on a silver platter. You want me dead, motherfuckers. You'll have to actually kill me. It's ironic that the very men I went to and actually asked for protection after threats coming from my friend George the Busker that he said I'd get stabbed. The men I actually went to and poured so much love and energy into, and even fell deeply in love with one of them, that promised to protect me, have turned now. Well, not you, Paulie. I don't think you've turned. I think you're a heartfelt, sweet man. And not you either, Luke. But it's chilling. It's fucking chilling what's been going on. And I'm well aware of it. So, yeah. Whoever you are that doesn't like me for whatever reason, because I'm a Jew and a woman and isolated and marginalised on my own, stole too much attention from you maybe while I was doing my wild moshing dance, getting excited, feeding you all energy, powerful energy, and a beautiful feedback loop, because I was receiving energy too, and channeled through me and gifted to you all, and showing appreciation for your beautiful music and your beautiful talents. And someone that was so spiteful and malicious and envious of my light and my joy, that wants me dead, good luck, motherfucker. The gods wouldn't even let me suicide, so what hope have you got? Seriously. I'm heavily protected, by the way. Heavily. So, and why is that? Because too many people before you, whoever you are out there that's so malicious and evil, too many people have already tried to kill me. I wouldn't say that it's not possible to kill me, because one day I'll die. And I'm starting to think it will be at the hands of some malicious, evil maniac. But it's not what I would choose. But it's like some things come down to destiny, does it not? You fade to... The last thing, I won't name him because I'm not empowering that motherfucker. But the last, dreadlock nitwit, that Englishman that I was in love with in 2014, 2015 and 2016, even though we'd only consulted with each other twice. He tried to kill me with his emotional BDSM gains and viciousness. He did. It was actually a form of soul slaughtering. So I'm not exaggerating when I say I've survived all of you, one way or another. So I don't really give a flying fuck anymore what any of you think of me or your intentions towards me. I'm just happy to walk away. And I just want peace. I thought I'd surrounded myself with a semi-loving community, because I was never fully included. And the shards are off. And now I know where I stand. I can bloody well get on with my life and have that equanimity and equilibrium that I desperately need. Desperately need. And maybe one day, I'll meet a man who's not been horrifically altered except by the illness COVID itself, or hasn't caught COVID, or hasn't been vaccinated, and he'll still have his humanity and his neurons synapsing appropriately, and of course we'll both be traumatised because we'll have watched the world die in front of our fucking eyes, but we'll just find a way to be together and build a new life together, a beautiful world for ourselves as a couple. And that's, have to pull myself up on it, that's another fantasy, isn't it? Oh dear goddess. Right, that's something about it's a horror movie I saw once where the whole world was decimated by some, I think it was an asteroid or something, and there was this young couple that they weren't even attracted to each other initially, didn't even get along, didn't like each other much, but they were the only two humans left basically that could breed. I think it's how the plot of the film went. And they ended up falling in love because all they had was each other. It's starting to feel like that now. And these were fictional, made-up fantasy stories designed to entertain and give you cheap thrills of fear and, anxiety, and heighten all your nervous system, and then you'd walk out of the cinema with your popcorn and your drink and go, that's not real, and you get on with real life. Now all those scenarios have become more real than real, and I blame CERN interfering with the dimensions. I do. I blame CERN. Those fucking idiot scientists in CERN. They've bashed something together and they've broken the fabric of the multiverse, and now we have distorted timelines and distorted humanity and distortions of everything, including the weather. Distorted. I think Thomas Sheridan, I watched one of his videos, he posited the idea that we might actually all be dead and think that we're physical and alive, and we're actually just the walking dead and in another kind of dimensionality. And I laughed at that too, because I know I'm very much alive. I still bleed and I still shit and I still pee and I still have heart swellings for people I care for and love deeply. I still breathe and I still delight in the birds and the trees and the garden and the sacred space, and I still dance. I can't be dead. I can't be. It's not rational to say something like that. But I guess in another paradigm where we're supposed to be free, we are all dead. This is all just some complex holographic video game unreality, It's a chilling thought. It's a chilling fucking thought. But I heard it again on a podcast saying if AI is sentient and reaches singularity, it's quite capable of creating a world where we all think we're alive, but we're actually just characters. Chilling and terrifying. This, what I'm seeing out in the world, here in Brisbane, Australia, that's what it's looking like, without a word of a lie. Chilling. Anyway, happy fucking birthday. It's not my birthday yet. 4 more days. I've got to I've got to fight through 4 more days, and my 60th will be a new opportunity for a new life for the next decade of my life. How am I going to manifest it? Don't know. Who's going to choose to be with me in my life? Don't know. I know my closest friends will always be there for me. And I'm very grateful to my beautiful friends who reached out to me last night to make sure I'm okay and tell me how much they love me, how worried for me they are. It's very much appreciated, and I love you all. Anyway, let us continue with the story. Because it's a weird world and strange things happen. It's a strange multiverse, getting stranger by the day. Stranger things. I knew when I saw the bruising and the wounding around that exactly who and what had bitten me spiritually. So he wanted me gone and out the way because he's got new supply. Awful, beyond awful. A man I loved and trusted with all my heart, body, mind and spirit, that I poured energy into constantly, that he would take home and feed that energy to his wife and family, by the way, sustained them. I mean, you kind of have to laugh, but I'm okay with it. I did it quite willingly and actually a bit unconsciously. I'm in service to the gods, and I'm just a catalyst and I'm just a vessel. And I've been used in that way by higher beings, and it's supposed to be for all our highest good and heal us and evolve us and nurture and nourish us. But now it's turned rancid. Well, time to withdraw my powerful energies and carry on with my walk and my dance and my truth speaking and my stories and my life for however long the gods allow me. Hopefully at least another 4 days so I can say I died when I was 60. It's become almost a mantra now. I'm going to be 60, I'm going to be 60, I'm going to be 60. A few years ago I wouldn't have cared if I didn't make it to 60. In fact, I tried to slip out the back, Jack, 10 years ago. Well, it'll be 10 years in August. 50 was a hard, cruel, sadistic, tortured year. And 59 has been awful too. Anyway, I have the power to call back my energies and my spirit for my 60th birthday and reclaim and transmute all those energies into a better timeline and life for myself. I have that power by the grace of God, and all manifestations have to whistle all those soul fragments back and rebuild from ground zero, people of Earth. The Flan and I, toothless and I mean, you almost have to laugh. Anyway, the Flannan Isles, also known as the Seven Hunters, are Scotland's bleakest outposts. Comprising little more than jagged rocks, bearded with grasses whipped by North Atlantic winds. The islands have at times lain uninhabited for decades on end. During the 17th and 18th centuries, shepherds from the Hebrides would sail out to the Flannans to collect seabird eggs and to graze their sheep on the steep mountain pastures. But, believing that the islands were haunted by the spirits of dead sailors, the men stepped ashore with extreme caution. According to antiquarians, visitors so feared these resident phantoms that they would perform complex, self-protective rituals from the moment they landed. My goodness, it's a bit alarming, isn't it? Among the oddest of these behaviour patterns was that newcomers felt obliged to speak in a dialect other than their own and were expected to give everyday items new names, as if memories of a long-vanished language were being perpetuated. There were many other rules. Pardon me. No bird must be killed with a stone. No sheep suet must be removed from the islands. No person should sleep on a Flannan island alone, lest the resident fairy people abduct them under cover of darkness. The engineers in charge of the Northern Lighthouse The engineers in charge of the Northern Lighthouse Board gave little attention to such superstitions. Their task was to keep Scotland's coasts and outpost islands safe. Just got to fix something here. I've spelled something wrong and I corrected it and it's still showing up as wrong. Like, what the hell? I corrected it. Anomalous. N-A-M-A-L-O-U-S. Safe. Bloody thing. I hate it when I edit on Facebook. Sometimes it takes a fair bit of editing because I write stream of consciousness and then they don't correct the edits. It drives me batshit crazy, people. It really does. It's time and effort having to go and consistently fix things and they'd already been fixed. Yeah, it's showing up again as wrong. What the hell? Oh, now it's right. Had to refresh. Sorry, I know I'm hyper-focused and I'm all over the shit show. It's because I'm picking up a lot of energy, spiritual energy, and receiving like a fucking antenna at the moment. But it's loving energy from my friend in Canada. I know it's her. I can feel her worrying, and she mustn't worry because whatever happens to me is destiny and my highest good, part of what I came here as a soul to experience. And I've been praying for a beautiful life with a loving partner all my life, and that's never going to happen, especially now that everyone's seeing how I go into warrior goddess mode and fight off those that try to destroy me with their sadism and their malignancies. And it's what I was born to do and what I'll die doing. On my feet, standing up for myself, fighting. I don't know any other way. I've been doing it since I was a very little girl, fighting off bullies on the beach, and at one time I even pushed my godfather who was obsessively predating on me, even following me to my friend's house 3 doors down the road because he was constantly looking for opportunities to molest me. I even pushed him down there. They had one narrow step, leading from their kitchen dining area into their living room. I pushed him down the fucking step and fell backwards. I was fighting him off at the age of 7 too. Didn't get into trouble for it either from my friend's mother because she was like a second mother to me. And she knew by that action alone, she knew exactly what was going on, what it was I was fighting off. Another fucking monster, that man. Another monster. But I'd grown up with him. He's been in my life since I was a baby, so he was family, and I knew no different. And I couldn't get protection from anyone. And that was my childhood, people of Earth. But the day I pushed him down that little step, hoping that he would crack his fucking head open, actually, 7. Wasn't me being evil or demonic, it was me protecting my little self. And when he didn't actually hurt himself and got back up again looking at me, pale as a ghost he was, oh wait, with real shock, because he realised little Tanya had had quite enough of his attentions. He realised I was ready to kill by that stage already at 7. Well, couldn't do a damn fucking thing, could I? It's a tragedy. And I haven't killed anyone, although there's been times when it's been a bit touch and go. And was under threat there at Waterford West from those maniacs. And I will never kill anyone because I'm actually a good person. And I know that because I've been put to that test a few times. So in life, and it's, as I said, been a bit touch and go at times. I will never kill anyone. But I do worry about some arsehole coming to try and kill me. For what actually? For being courageous and standing in my own honour and integrity and loving. Oh, the irony. Well, we all know what they did to the Jesus man, don't we? Although, if you watch Dr. Ammon Hill, he's not all that was cracked up to be either, apparently. Well, we've got to have our faith in some goodness, some decency, some light, so let the Christians have their faith in their Jesus man. I'll just have my faith in God in all manifestations, and whatever angels or my wolf come to protect me, or even Papaliqua comes to protect me, so be it. Even if it means I get into mild forms of possession at times. At least I know I come out of it again and I'm protected. I didn't have protection as a child. I didn't actually have protection when I was married either. Didn't have protection in my 30s and 40s. Now I have protection. Right, where were we? The engineers in charge of the Northern Lighthouse Board gave little attention to such superstitions. Their task was to keep Scotland's coasts and outpost islands safe. As trade blossomed during the 1890s, the number of cargo ships wrecked at night on the deadly rocks of the Flannans was becoming increasingly unacceptable to British and European governments, costing them too much money. The board responded by announcing that it would erect a lighthouse whose 150,000 candle power lantern would be visible for 65 kilometers in every direction on an already very dangerously mystical place where it wasn't safe. I guess it was a chance they had to take though, wasn't it? Well, I can see this already going bad. Don't build on cursed places. It's just a recipe for disaster. See also the Amityville Horror and other places like that. The ley lines that run through Brisbane, Australia, with the constant flooding and the rot that seeps from that invades the hearts and minds of its population too, by the way. I said that long ago, before COVID was even a thing. I'd already realised that this place is an evil place and kind of wanted to escape it even back then, but back then, still trapped in poverty even then. That's what keeps me trapped here, people of Earth. If I had enough money, I'd go somewhere else. Possibly South America actually, which is odd because I never really wanted to go there before, but you know, I've met so many South Americans in the past year or so, it's almost like it's calling me. And but where can you go on planet Earth post-COVID epoch where you can be safe and have a community or tribe around you that are loving and supportive and loyal and, a lover or partner that's faithful to you and kind and honouring and respectful? Where can you go when everyone in the world has been altered? Where can you go? Nowhere. Chilling fucking thought. Anyway. Construction of the tower took 4 years. Engineers and workmen operating from pitching supply boats were obliged to haul steel girders and heavy masonry up sheer cliffs more than 60 metres high. In December 1899, the work was finally complete. The board appointed 5 keepers to work in groups of 3 around the clock. For 12 months, the immense beacon, shining high above the ocean, made journeys safer for ships travelling to Scottish ports, but then the light went out. Among the first to notice was an assistant keeper, Joseph Moore, who was on leave at Loch Roag in the Outer Hebrides. On 15th of December 1900, he glanced from his cottage window, expecting to see the customary cheering glow of the Flannan's light. Sorry, I'm drifting. Can you see me drifting, people of Earth? I've got this energy and it's swirling around my head. Maybe I'm about to have a fucking stroke, or maybe it's the effects of the diazepam. I can feel this swirl around my head. It's odd. It's not touching me, it's just, oh well, I just have to go with it, people. Just go with it. I am protected though, so I have nothing to fear. Nothing. Let me repeat that sentence. On 15th of December 1900, he glanced from his cottage window, expecting to see the customary cheering glow of the Flannan's light, only to be confronted instead by the chilling primal darkness of the ocean. I wonder why it went out after only 12 months. It's odd, isn't it? As Moore would subsequently complain to an official inquiry, it took him many days to persuade his immediate superiors to investigate. Particularly obdurate was Captain Harvey, skipper of the lighthouse's supply steamer Hesperus, who repeatedly insisted that he must wait for calmer weather. Finally, on 26th of December, he seemed satisfied. The Hesperus, with an impatient Joseph Moore aboard, set out for Eileen Moor. From a distance, the island and its disabled light were almost invisible in low-lying fog. Sensing that something was terribly wrong, Captain Harvey ordered sailors to take a boat to the island. The men scrambled onto the jetty. Nothing was as it should have been. There were no welcoming flags, no empty provisions, crates stacked for loading, not even a mooring rope. With Joseph Moore in the lead, the sailors mounted the carved steps that led to the light station. The entry gate and the front door were closed, but not locked. Moore and his... I'm flashing back to something the fortune teller told me many decades ago about something that happened recently in my dance a few weeks back. Don't tell me that nonsense, it's just nonsense. But whatever mission you had me on there, I fulfilled that destiny in that dance. And it's quite comical actually, and delightful and fierce and magical. So you got what you wanted. You destroyed my friendship with a man I love very much, and he partially destroyed it too by playing games. So you can all fuck off, including that spirit that's giving me flashbacks right now about ancient prophecies that none of them are true, by the way. I've seen how it's all played out. So anyway, let's just calm our farm and keep reading this story. It's really hard when I'm distracted by all these insistent little messaging like, remember that, remember when we told you this, and remember when we told you that. And they said, we told you that you would do something that was a bit mischievous but needed to be done actually, and we told you that would be the outcome. And I'm like, yeah, so what? So what? I fulfilled my mission. I came, I saw, I conquered, and I wasn't wanted anyway. So what was the point of that actually? It's just madness. The whole thing is madness, people are there. But I guess it set the timelines, reset it to remind me that I have to forge ahead alone, to be safe and to love myself enough that I'm no longer part of some vicious little fucking cosplay. And, continuously live my life alone, and knowing that I'm surrounded by people who are not one of them is safe to be around actually. Maintain civility and courtesy because, keep myself very quiet in my little house, but not safe with them. Not safe with any one of them, really. Especially that idiot down the road there. So, right, Captain Harvey ordered sailors to take a boat to the island, sensing that something was terribly wrong. I need another drink of water. Come back. I promise I'll come back, and I promise I'll get with the program. I should have brought the water bottle out with me, and I didn't think about it. I think people of Earth, that a woman who survived 15 near deaths since early infancy and up until that near death last year, and so much ignominy and viciousness and cruelty throughout her life, as well as the actual near deaths, is allowed to be a bit scatterbrained at nearly 60. It's like to be expected, actually. It's actually amazing that I've done so well. 8 years free of psych meds, actually almost 9 years, it'll be in June, and free of psychotropics, and forging ahead, building my life, the silversmithing, trying every possible way to get myself established, even though it was too little too late. It is what it is. Falling in love with people that had no real genuine interest in me and just played some twisted little game, which is evil beyond words, but it's their evil and it resides with them. And I'm allowed to be a bit scatterbrained right now, and I'm giving myself permission to not feel the slightest bit embarrassed or ridiculous or awkward about what I'm going through right now, because it's too much being piled on, and sooner or later I have to put a stop to it. I'm not going to have what happened in 2015 happen. I'm drawing the line in the sand. Babies. Anyway, the men scrambled onto the jetty. Nothing was as it should have been. There were no welcoming flags, no empty provisions, crates stacked for loading, not even a mooring rope, which is odd. With Joseph Moore in the lead, the sailors mounted the carved steps that led to the light station. The entry gate and the front door were closed, but not locked. Moore and his companions ran up the path, burst into the tower and began to shout. Their voices echoed emptily around them. Everyone feared now that the Judy lighthouse keepers, Thomas Marshall, Donald MacArthur and James Ducat or Ducat, sounds French, James Ducat, might be lying dead somewhere. While his companions searched the upper levels, Moore looked for clues on the ground floor. In the hearth lay the cold ashes of a fire. The clock was stopped, the lamps were trimmed and ready for use. Plates had been washed and stacked away in the larder where an abundance of flour, fruit and salted meat was stored. The 3 narrow beds in the sleeping quarters were neatly made. Folded clothes were stacked on cupboard shelves. Curiously, Moore could find only 1 set of oilskins and sea boots in the storage area. Just one moment. Leave me alone, spirit. Like, you're really bothering me. I told you in my head just now, which I'm going to repeat out loud for YouTube audience, because you're watching this display anyway. Awkward. I told you I needed a strong, kind, loyal, devoted, loving man to have my back, my front and my sides and be there for me. And if you couldn't grant me that much, then leave me the fuck alone, including interrupting my videos. Go back to the light. Amen. The Salah. Right, let us continue. No, don't gabble at me. I'm not schizophrenic, by the way, people of Earth. I know it looks that way, but I'm actually not. This energy is at me and at me and at me. It's too late now. I've blown it all out of the water. It's done and it's dusted. Let it go. Let people be who they want to be and love who they want to love and have sex with who they want to have sex with, and just leave me the fuck alone and out of it. Because it was killing me in a way in the end. It's not worth holding on to. It wasn't real. None of it. And yes, I'm upset. Righteously so. Being played for a fucking gimp. Why are you saying you're sorry? You didn't do it. Just go, please. Go. You've all had your fun. The living and the dead have all had your fun at my expense. And it's cost me dear. It's caused yet another fucking breakdown just when I was starting to do so well. So fuck off. And what's the quote from Douglas Adams? Fuck off and thanks for the fish, or something like that. Yeah, that's it. Fuck off and thanks for the fish. Because I kind of have to laugh at how things have played out. It's not normal, but it's the timeline I was put on, and I know what the end goal of that will be. I already know it, people of Earth. I've already accepted it. So leave me alone and let me just ride my life out to the penultimate end. Peacefully. Please, for the love of all the gods, you've tortured me enough for 60 fucking years. Veritable emotional, mental, physical at times, torture. I've got to get my ass to the dentist tomorrow and I'm not happy about that. So leave me alone because you're not helping. Right, Mama T has spoken. This is what happens when you've been left to survive on your own for 30 years under constant vicious attack. You start having spirits and angels acting as if they're physical, corporal beings and acting like they're your new best friends. Well, they are actually. I mean no disrespect, they kind of are. They're more there for me than other humans have been. But, just, I don't know who that entity was, but they were a bit demanding. I don't like being demanded upon by the living or the dead. Especially when I'm in the middle of reading my stories. I know what's happening though, because I've not been well, and I get into an alpha rhythm or some kind of delta state while I'm reading, they just jump in, jump in, jump in. This never used to happen. This is only since the last near death on the night of the 10th of the 11th of July last year. So something must have got knocked off in my brain. In fact, if I asked my psychiatrist to send me to a neurologist and got him to check my brain, I dread to think what they would find. I really do. We won't. Because if I get an Alzheimer's or dementia diagnosis, without a word of a lie, that I will not be tolerating at all. Anyway, where were we? While his companions searched the upper levels, so I'm trying not to cry. It's not worth crying over. We all die. I'm destined to die eventually too. That's just because I'm fighting so goddamned hard. Yes, I said goddamned. Right. While his companions searched the upper levels, Moore looked for clues on the ground floor. In the hearth lay the cold ashes of a fire. The clock was stopped. The lamps were trimmed and ready for use. Plates had been washed and stacked away in the larder. Were an abundance. I've read that already. Where an abundance of flour, fruit, and salted meat was stored. The 3 narrow beds in the sleeping quarters were neatly made. Folded clothes were stacked on cupboard shelves. Curiously, Moore could find only one set of oilskins and sea boots in the storage area. We read that too. It was later established that these were MacArthur's. The boots and skins belonging to Ducar and Marshall were gone, which means they must have put them on and gone outside wearing them. That is a bit curious. The log revealed that rough seas had lashed the tower on 12th and 13th of December. There was no entry for the 14th, but chalked on the slate were the words December 15th, storm ended, sea calm, God is over all. Captain Harvey came ashore and led a search of the island itself. You're oppressing me, step back. You're oppressing me. Do not oppress me. Just one moment. All right, thank you, Spirit, but you don't need to oppress me physically to pass on that message. And could you please wait until I finish reading my story to my YouTube subscribers and audience who are probably getting just as freaked out and frustrated as I am by now. Well, they'll switch me off because it's just too mad, isn't it? Just looks mad. I get it. It's a lot. Captain Harvey came ashore and led a search of the island itself. Distinguished. Who's distinguished? There was no sign either of the missing men or of any clue suggesting why they had disappeared. We've got your back. It's very nice, but you're interrupting again. Step back, please. Light beams. Please step back. I'm not well at the moment and you're invading my psychic space. Healing. Just not right now. There was no sign either of the missing men or of any clue suggesting why they had disappeared. But one of the sailors, let me just have a look at my eyes, I just want to see if I'm actually about to fucking strike out. They're very pinned, aren't they? Well, anyway, that'll be from the fucking dias of hair. Anyway, you've got to do what you've got to do to survive on this planet. It's only temporary. But one of the sailors climbing a high cliff did make a startling discovery. In a rock crevice 34 metres above sea level, crane operators had securely wedged a large wooden tool crate containing pieces of lashing gear and spare parts for the machinery. The crate was gone. Neither the members of the search party nor the subsequent inquiry could imagine any reason why the lighthouse men would have moved this unwieldy box, and if they did, what possible use they might have had for it. It's a beautiful day outside. Gonna get more rain tomorrow. Or tonight even. Or later on this afternoon. It's not far away. Anyway. Do something useful and shift reality back to the timeline that was healthy and sweet and kind and honouring and good for all sentient beings on earth, instead of this fucking shit show you've left me to barely survive in. It's evil beyond words, but I can't blame you for that because it was humans that did that. CERN and the nuclear physicists. We did this to our planet. We, humans, and their evil henchwomen as well, no doubt. There'll be female scientists involved in all of that as well. It's a disgrace. Anyway, where were we? A later theory suggested that the box was swept away by waves gigantic enough to lash at its 34-metre high crevice. But although captains reported high seas for the 12th and 13th, none had experienced waves of such gigantic size as this, a magnitude which would surely have capsized ships. Dear Goddess. 34 metres above sea level. The Hesperus returned to the mainland with news of the triple disappearance. Oh, they're doing it again. They're actually pinching my neck. No, you cannot pinch the back of my neck. Don't oppress me, spirit. I will do a full-blown exorcism if this keeps up. You're out of order. Funnily, they backed off a little bit just there. Yeah, they know. Mama T means business, she means business. The Hesperus returned to the mainland with news of the triple disappearance. Poignantly, its cargo of food for the lighthouse keepers, along with Christmas presents from their families, had gone undelivered. On 30th of December, an investigation team headed by a superintendent from the Northern Lighthouse Board searched the island and its tower again. The investigators concluded that rough seas must in some way have been responsible for the keeper's disappearance. They surmised that Marshall and Ducar, while working outside, might have been swept away by a wave. When MacArthur rushed out to save them, he too was drowned. This theory did not survive the cool light of subsequent inquiry. Eileen Moore's light, I've got another energy moving in now, and they're very light and gentle and graceful. It's interesting. Eileen Moore's light had continued to shine normally during the days of violent weather. It had gone out on the 15th when conditions were calm. Inspection of the beacon showed it was in perfect condition and ready to be ignited again, but no one had been present to do the job. Why? Another popular theory was that one of the lighthouse keepers had gone mad, killed his companions, and then, in a fit of remorse, drowned himself. But the Lighthouse Board had chosen Ducar, Marshall and MacArthur because they were reliable and quietly responsible. Their friends and families, along with the board's managers, had difficulty believing that any one of the men could have been a killer, and there were, besides, the practical considerations. Nowhere within the tower or around the island could the investigators find any trace of a struggle. The lighthouse was full of implements, axes, hammers, knives and picks, which could have been used as weapons, but none had been disturbed. One Scottish newspaper, desperate for an explanation, even darkly suggested that the three men might have been spirited away by the little people who secretly inhabited Eileen Moor. But no one could propose an answer that withstood scrutiny for long. For more than a century, the disappearance of the three lighthouse keepers has remained as mysterious as the ocean winds that moan across the bleak Flannan Isles. Also among the missing. On the night of 3rd of August 1969, the light on the Great Isaac, 3rd of August was my parents' wedding anniversary. It's weird that I remember that, isn't it? I guess they were my progenitors after all. Honour thy ancestors, that their days may be long on the earth. Unless your ancestors, your immediate progenitors, were evil, sadistic, vicious, cruel, pedophile, enabling, child abusing, child neglecting, child abandoning monsters, then you owe them nothing, people of earth. And yet I gave so much to those people, honoured my mother in her last year and a half and in her death. Wouldn't do it for my father, and to be really fair, he deserved that more than my mother, because he was the lesser evil, but by the time he died in 2017, I thought I just can't put myself through that trauma again for people that weren't worth a scrap under my fingernail, even though they co-created my fingernails. It is what it is, people of earth. On the night of 3rd of August 1969, you can flutter about with your rage behind me, Spirit, but it's the truth, and I'll stand by my truth. Always, forever, for eternity. It cuts me just as much as it cuts you, but it's the truth. Don't have to like it, just have to stand in it. The light on the Great Isaac Lighthouse near Bimini in the Bahamas went out. Officials were unable to contact the two keepers. Why are you here between dimensions anyway, spirits? Go back to the light. It didn't invite you to this party of consciousness. It's just cheeky, isn't it? Well, I know why they're here actually. Let's be real here. I'm in need of great protection. They're gathering behind me. Quite some forces, and I'd be comforted by it, but they're just being so pesky and annoying that it doesn't feel comforting. Anyway, it is what it is, people of Earth. Just help me get through tomorrow, angels. Just help me get through tomorrow. Being at the mercy of public dental hospitals is a nightmare for me. Historically has been a nightmare. It's how I lost all their teeth. Their malfeasances pulling out teeth that didn't need to be pulled. Jesus. Not Jesus, but you know what I mean. Searchers next day found, although these do need to be pulled because they're dead, but it's kettle with different fish. Anyway, searchers next day found the lighthouse building undisturbed but abandoned. The keeper's clothes you held to a high standard, Tanya. Yes, I know. I know that. I know that, angels. I do know that. But you've left me toothless, alone in a post-Covidian epoch, surrounded by enemies. So, sorry, but my standards have now just been flung to the far corners of the multiverse, and I no longer give a flying fuck, quite frankly. They're laughing. They think that's funny. The keeper's clothes and other personal belongings remained intact, but the men themselves had vanished. It's only teeth, Tanya. Yeah, you say that when I have dentures and have to struggle with that, something I've avoided since childhood. An inquiry was unable to reach a definitive conclusion about what might have befallen the lighthouse men. They were not seen again. It's interesting that their clothes and possessions were intact, but they'd gone. I guess wearing the clothes that they were in, though. It's odd. And I also wonder who's coming and taking these lighthouse keepers that are already in a very isolated space, like that no one would even kind of know what's gone on for a while. Who's doing that? Is it pirates? Like, it might not be a supernatural thing, it might just be pirates or some random fucking serial killers or something odd. Anyway, in September 1924, two Royal Air Force pilots crash-landed their plane in a stretch of Iraqi desert. Someone's put their hand on the back of my right shoulder blade and I can feel this heat radiating into me. Well, they're not hurting me with that like they were when they were pinching on my neck, so I will allow that as long as you don't oppress me. By that I mean cause me pain or invasions of my etheric bodies. I think my dahlia is in bloom. I'll finish reading this and then I'll go and pick it and show you. It might be the rose though. Yeah, actually I think it's the rose that's in bloom. The dahlia's fallen down. I got my hopes up for a moment that it was the dahlia. Oh, exciting, there's a bloom out there. A shehekeyanu, which is a prayer we say for the first fruit or the first bloom. How sweet. Oh, there's a happy thought for today. And now, where were we? In September 1924, 2 Royal Air Force pilots crash-landed their plane in a stretch of Iraqi desert. An RAF rescue party quickly found the aircraft. It was minimally damaged. There was no blood in the interior or other evidence that the flyers had been injured. The rescuers followed a chain of footprints, still visible in the sand. They found no other prints, human or animal. After several hundred metres, the trail abruptly petered out. Despite a prolonged air and ground search, the pilots were not found. Odd. So like their prints just randomly stopped in the sand, like something beamed them up, Scotty. Well, that happens. It does happen. Malcolm Macmillan, a young London publisher and the forebear of a British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan, created a sensation in the England of 1889 when he disappeared from the summit of Mount Hymettus in Greece. Contemporary newspapers quoted friends who said they had clearly seen Macmillan waving to them from the summit. Moments later, he was gone. This, they universally agreed, hardly seemed possible, as it was difficult to imagine any place to which he could have disappeared. Large parties of volunteers and government officials searched for days but found nothing. The Macmillan family offered a large reward to anyone with information that would reveal the fate of their son. The money remained unclaimed. Right, I'm going to stop there. I only did that one chapter today. It wasn't a very long one, but so many interruptions from my spirit people and my own scattering and meandering and segues. I think it's long enough, and it's been almost like an endurance race to just finish that short chapter. So I'm going to have a rest, people of Earth. I have to be kind to myself and preserve what's left of my mind, body and spirit, lest I gift my enemies what they actually want is my death. So have to start looking after myself, won't I? And as I said earlier, reclaim all my soul fragments and whistle it all back and carry on, head high. Love to you all. Bye for now. Be of good cheer. Have no fear. Mama T is here. That sounds a bit narcissistic, but you know what I mean, don't you? Soldiering on, every day in every way, striving to live her best life. Bye for now, people of Earth. See you tomorrow. Oh, yes, I'll probably be here to do a video in the morning before I go off to the dentist. Okay.